Okay. Welcome back to another Metal Mondays. We just played World in a World from Violence and Fear of Napalm from Terrorizer. As you know, we always start Monday off with violence. We got a lovely guest with us. We got Jose from Ignoxia. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Emily? Thanks for having me on. I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fucking fantastic, man.
That's
Fuck.
good.
Well, let's get into this. Can you give us some background on your band, Ignoxia?
Yeah, so Ignoxia started. I'm glad you pronounced it correctly. A lot of people ask me how you pronounce it, which is which I kind of like dabbled and I kind of bounced around on how to actually pronounce it. But Ignoxia is the what I decided to. That sounds good, so I decided that that's going to be the way it's pronounced. It was between that and Agnoxia. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was good though. I like Ignoxia. But yeah, the background on that is me and the guys, some of the core guys of Ignoxia, which is Steven and Juan, we were working on the full album for Macrocosm. And during that time, we released an EP in 2018 and we were going into the studio to record a full album. So we were in there chopping shit, doing everything, leads were going down, everything was perfect, and then the pandemic hit. Once the pandemic hit, we're like, oh, it's gonna last like a month or two, and we'll go back into the studio. So we decided to waited it out a little bit, be like, okay, I'm sure we'll be back. That didn't happen. Obviously, we're here still, and things are just getting ironed out and getting back to normal. So in between that time where we had time off and we were like sorting things out to record the full album for Macrocosm, I had a lot of creative juices flowing, ideas I've had in the past to make like a solo project, I guess. And that was the idea at first, to make a solo project of just me and a bunch of guests. I didn't even have the idea of having a core group. It was just going to be Jose and friends. And then as time went by, while I was like jotting down this idea, I typically, I'm old school. I typically write everything down on a little notebook, and I write down all my stuff and all my ideas on there. And I was writing down stuff like, what do I want to write about? I things that I knew weren't going to fit for Macrocosm, and I had time to do. So I just thinking over and over, and I was like, the beginning of this, it's totally different. I thought I was gonna do like a grind band, like Terrorizer, Repulsion type of thing, like really nitty gritty, like very, very, very raw type of music, extreme music. And it didn't turn out that way, in a good way. We As I was doing that, like I was blasting out ideas to myself and writing them down. I kind of bounced around ideas with Juan. He works with me, or he used to work with me, and at our day job. And I was telling him, "Hey, man, I have this idea for a band, like a solo project. I'm thinking of bringing Balmore. I believe Balmore was the first person I contacted to do lead guitars." And he's the ex-guitarist of Ex Mortis, and now he's in Nova Rain, the power metal band. Pretty good if you like power metal. Check it out. So I hit him up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, whatever you want to do." He didn't even know what I was trying to do. He just wanted to be a part of anything I was going to do. And so I bounced that idea with Juan, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds cool. Maybe this, and that." He's like, and I never told him like, "Hey, do you want to be part of this band?" And he just wanted to help me, and I was like, "Okay." So this is Juan from Macrocosm, and he, not to be confused, Juan from Bonded by Blood, because he's part of this project as well. So he was like, "Hey, man, like I really want to be part of this. Like as it's grown and as it's evolved, it seems more of something I'd be down to do." And then I was like, you know what? He gave me the idea of making it a core group and kind of have that, and then hand that out to the guest musicians, because like now we have a Ignoxia sound with the core group, and it'll still sound like Ignoxia, but then once you get a guy like Cohen and a guy like Alex, a guy like Juan, a guy like Balmore, Eric, they'll put their own twist into it to make the song sound completely different, but it still sounds like Ignoxia. So that was a great idea. I was like, man, that sounds great. He's like, okay, cool. I got all these riffs. He already had the riffs prepared. So that to me was like,
Yeah.
this is awesome, because I like working like that. I like working fast. I like doing things that if I say this, let's do it. It's not, I don't like waiting around for like a year for something to happen. I like making things happen. Even if it's things that we're not going to use, I just want to make sure that we're working on stuff. So he brought him over to me, and he's the type of dude that doesn't get butthurt. Like if I say, man, like this doesn't work for us, he's like, all right, cool. I have this other riff. And so here, and then I like that. So that works. That was the best flow I've had in any band I've ever been in. Just because he was just so easy to work with. He was just like, hey, I got this, and this. That doesn't work? Okay, I got this other thing. So anyways, it worked out to we had 4 concrete badass songs, like at least the skeletons of it. And I'm like, I really like these. These sound really cool. I would give him ideas of like, hey, I want like something to sound like Obituary, but also sound like Discharge, but also sound like a Terrorizer. And he's just like, what the fuck? But he made it happen. At least the bass rhythms of it, and then that was cool. Then we're like, okay, we have this. Then we hit up Mauricio. Mauricio has been around forever. He's like a guitar tech. He did guitar tech for stuff for Bonded. He's done stuff for like Chicano Batman, like all kinds of stuff. He's a great guitarist as well. He's just never been part of a concrete band. He's just a great guitarist though. And I hit him up. He's like, hey, I'm like, hey man, do you want to be part of this whatever we're doing? And he's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Just send me the riffs and I'll have them down. And that guy's like a machine. He had them down like in a day or two. Boom, boom. He had them ready. I hit up one of the best drummers I know and I've ever played with, which is Steven. To me, he's amazing. So I wanted him to help me out. I knew we were already in Macrocosm and he has a few other projects like Project Wormhole and like other solo projects he's working on, some other projects that he's been working on with other people. So I was like, he's probably busy. He's not going to want to be like a concrete member. He's just going to want to do the session and move on, help me out and move along. But I'm going all over the place, but we only rehearsed one day with songs, and he had him down. He's like, okay, I know what I want to do. Went into the studio like the next week after that, recorded everything in a few hours, drums wise, and he came out and he's like, how much do I owe you, man, for the drum session? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna pay for it, dude. Like I thought you didn't want to, like, I just needed you like as a session. Like I didn't think you would want to be part of this band. He's like, no, dude, I want to be part of this band. It sounds fucking awesome. And blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. So then he went in with me and we recorded the guitar riffs like 2 days after that, and then I did the vocals like over that weekend. So everything was really quick from start to finish. From start of the band to finish of the whole recording process took about, I want to say 3 weeks and a half. But the idea of the band has been something that has been in my head for ages, and something that I've tried to work with the people that are my guest musicians. We've tried to do certain things in the past before, even when I was still in Bonded, like while I had like breaks in between tours, it was like, hey man, like me and Eric or me and Conan or me and Alex and whoever, we would talk about like, hey, maybe we should make like a side project where we all like contributed to the side project and made some music. That never worked out or never came to fruition, but this did, and I'm glad it did. And I'm happy I took the reins and actually like went full like steam with it. Like I fucking said, okay, let's fucking do it, and we did it. And I'm glad that everybody that was part of it is a part of it, because it wouldn't be the same without those guys.
Definitely. And what made you name the band Ignoxia?
So one major thing I wanted to have, and so it was like in all the social media handles, I wanted to make sure I wanted to make number one is I wanted to be a one worded name.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I wanted to make sure it wasn't on like taken on social media. Like I didn't want to be like at Agnoxia official or some, like, you know how even with Macrocosm, it's like at Macrocosm official, because everybody takes those names and it's difficult to find something. I also wanted to make it sound cool. And then I started looking at the stuff I was writing, and I don't think a lot of people know what I'm writing about, because I tend to never like really tell people like, hey, this is a concept album or this is a concept EP or whatever it may be. But this whole EP has to do, or it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where this humans are now cyborgs, and so the company that creates these cyborgs is named Existence. So that's why I named the EP Existence. 3 is due to, this is the third cyborg that was created, or the third edition of this cyborg that was created, and he's the one that disrupted the whole thing. He's the one that's actually thinking for himself and doing all these things and like, hey, why are we alive? Questioning things like as a human instead of a robot. And so when I was writing the song self-titled Agnoxia, it's a play on agnosia when nausea means that when you have brain damage
Mhm.
from surgery, you're waking up from a surgery, you have some sort of brain damage, and you don't really realize who you are, what you are, whatever. So that's what basically is taking place in this concept in this world that I created, um, where the cyborg's waking up, and each song describes his basically his life as a person that just got created, and he's just not knowing if he's human, if he's a robot, if he's a good guy or a bad guy. So I thought it was perfect because agnoxia is just meaning that, like brain waking up from brain damage, not knowing, just trying to figure out who you are, what you are. Uh, Memories come in and out. So I thought it was perfect for the band.
Fuck yeah. And did you do anything to prepare your vocals for recording this record?
Yeah, I wanted to be something completely different from Bonded and completely different from Macrocosm. I didn't want it to be like Bonded by Blood 2.0. I didn't want it to be Macrocosm 2.0, like, hey, this guy's just a one trick pony. I wanted to make sure that people knew that I have, even though I had some time off music, that I do have range, if you want to call it that. That's
Mhm.
just something in um in heavy metal or extreme music that you don't see a lot. A lot of people, even if they make a different band, they tend to kind of bank on or milk their sound, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted to be completely different. So yeah, luckily I have like a little home studio at home and I can practice vocals all the time. So I try to I record myself and hear myself back and forth and like trying to be like, okay, does this sound good for this band? Is this what I'm trying to portray to the fans and to myself? Is this the idea I had in my head? And once I got to that, once like I got to that certain like more raw, more like not necessarily death metal, but like kind of like I want to say grindish punk with a little bit of like death thrash vocals that I wanted. And I wanted them to sound a little bit raw, so that's
Mhm.
I felt like that was done correctly. So yeah, once I had that dialed in, I just practiced that over and over. So it took me some time. I want to say like maybe a month prior to that, I was trying to think of something different to do. And once I dialed that in, I practiced a bit for like 2, 3 weeks, and I had that already before the songs were even like created. I already had like a idea of what I wanted for the vocals and kind of the sound and tone of them.
Fuck yeah. Well, let's get into some tunes. We're gonna play Nightfall from the new Devil Wears Prada here on Razor Radio. And then 1, 2, 3. Oh right, we're coming back from Hideous from Vex. They just dropped their new record May 21st. I will be interviewing Megan, their vocalist, next week. Well, let's get back into this. So, who designed the artwork for this EP?
So the artwork was designed by Ryan T. Hannock. He's a artist from England. He's an amazing artist. The moment I found, I stumbled upon him on Instagram. I follow a lot of like old sci-fi and just tons of sci-fi Instagram pages, and he was actually did he comment on it? I'm not sure if he commented on one of them or one of his arts was like on there. And but we became friends on there, and I was like, oh, I started looking at his page and I was like, wow, this guy like he's been painting since 2018. So I'm pretty sure 2018 or 2017. It's very recent that he started painting, and he's just has so much talent. I feel like he's so naturally talented. And I'm the type of guy also that doesn't want to reach out to the people that have already been used before. I know a lot of people, nothing against those guys. A lot of people use like Ed Repka and like Riddick and all that stuff, and all their art is amazing. I just don't want to look like every other art person, like every other album on there, like
Oh, I agree.
different cover. And I'm always about that. Like, and I always like getting people that that don't usually do a certain type of art to do that art, and then it kind of makes something unique in a way. But this guy's an exception. He does like that wonderful sci-fi painting type of art. That's his whole thing. But
Mhm.
as I thought, I didn't see anybody else have that type of art, and I gave him the idea. He had a prior to that, he had a few other examples of what he wanted to do or what he could do, and then we kind of just put our minds together and came up with the concept of the art, and then finally gave me some samples, and I was extremely happy with them. I'm like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I wanted. You know, that skull, it has some wires coming out, but you have to really look, but the detail is amazing. And then just in the background, you see like the buildings like demolished, and it's all in orange. I like it. It was this amazing artist from there. If you guys want to check him out, he's amazing.
Fuck yeah. And so you're saying he paints. So did he end up painting this and like sending it to you or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually got some of what's it called? Like what's it called when like you get the not the actual art. We got the actual art as well, but there's the
Prince?
prints. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some of the prints, and actually just got that like last week. And yeah, we got the whole. I have like this whole wall with all my records from Bonded, Macrocosm, and everything, and then I'm gonna put that up there, the actual art print. It's gonna be
Fuck
so
yeah.
cool. Yeah, that he painted it. He just scanned it in HD to make it like the vinyl cover and the CD
Mhm.
cover. Yeah, the guy's awesome.
Fuck yeah. And did he also like do the artwork for your guys' merch, or did you guys go to someone else?
No, we go to uh this guy named Dicky. His name's Dicky. If you find him on Instagram, Dicky Artwork. That guy's done my artwork for Macro, and then he did the cover for the Macrocosm EP, but he did the Macrocosm shirts, and then I gave him the idea of what I wanted, and I made sure to tell him that
Mhm.
I didn't want it to be like like macrocosm. I wanted it to be a whole separate entity. I didn't want it to be like, man, that's looks like the guy that did the macrocosm art. And he
Mhm.
fucking knocked it out of the park with that. Like that, the quality of the shirt, just the art in itself is fucking amazing. And it's exactly what I wanted. It's a cyborg dude. That's the same thing. It's all in theme with everything that
Mhm.
I'm talking about. Came out cool. The long sleeves are fucking awesome with the little emblem on them. That was yeah. But that's him, Dicky. You can find him on Instagram, Dicky Artwork.
And with you guys having the cyborg guy, are you guys gonna eventually name him? Because I know with Bonded by Blood, the guy on the cover, you guys like named him. Or so I remember.
Yeah, his name was Brutus or something like that. I don't think I'm going to name the guy because I'm not 100% sure where I want to take it or if he's going to
Mhm.
die. But don't don't bet on it. I might name him. You know, the story continues. I'm already writing for the actual album for
Mhm.
Ignoxia, so there's a lot of twists and things that I'm going to throw in there. So I might name him. I'm not sure. So as the story develops, then I'll let you know.
Fuck yeah. And I see you guys are currently working on a stop animation video. What made you guys do that over ordinary video?
So as I was telling you, I mean, I've been trying to do. I want to be a little different. I haven't seen
Mhm.
stop animation, claymation kind of stuff in a very long time, and that's something like I grew up in the '90s, and you saw that a lot with Tool and
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
just Green Jello or Green Jelly, depending on how you want to name them, and all these videos that I used to see growing up, and even like just the like celebrity death match and like
Mhm.
um what else did I like? Even those like cheesy Christmas ones, you know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
the snowman and all that stuff. I grew up with that stuff. To me, it was awesome. Gumby. Oh, I'm all into all these claymation ones. Yeah, I liked all those things, and I always thought it was so cool when I saw like the Tool ones that were all like creepy and like the dude like waking up, and then when I saw like the green jelly ones were a little bit funnier and like you can do all these things. I'm like, I've been wanting to do that forever since Bonded, but they were just so expensive. Like they're very, and I get it because it takes a long time to you got to like move the little person around and do like all kinds of shots. I get it. It takes a lot of time and work to do it. Um, Luckily, things aligned very well with TFP Studios. They're based out of Argentina. Um, Same thing. I follow a lot of claymation stuff because I love it, and I became friends with this guy. His name's Tomas. He's and I he liked macrocosm, and then I was doing Ignoxia. I was talking to him about. I saw some of the videos that he's done, and like he did like some band videos, not necessarily a music video, but just like little small 15-second reels, 30-second reels of like uh Linkin Park and bands that
Mhm.
he likes and just like making little videos for them. And I was like, this would be cool. I wonder how much he would charge me because
Mhm.
like this would be cool for an agnostic thing, especially what I want to do. And I hit him up and he's like, you know what? I wanted to ask you if you wanted, like, he was like wanting to ask me. I didn't even know. I'm all here nervous, thinking like, oh man, like he's not gonna want to do it, blah blah blah. And he's like, dude, I wanted to ask you, and blah blah. And he gave me a really good deal.
Mhm.
That I couldn't pass up at all. I was like, man, nobody else is gonna give me this deal. Like, this is crazy. And he basically was like, man, I'm doing it because like I love your work and I love what you're doing and I love the song that you gave me. So I just want to make sure it's gonna come out cool and I'm glad and blah blah. And like, we get a lot of love, at least from my end, from South America.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure because I'm brown. And I'm always speaking Spanish and I connect with those fans and like they're I'm first generation Mexican American. So I kind of grew up. I did grow up with immigrant parents. So a lot of like I connect with a lot of fans out there because they're like, man, it's so cool to see like someone like us up doing metal stuff because we're not used to that. And I'm like, that's you got Sepultura and stuff like that, but it's very rare where you
Yeah.
get to see like a bigger like when Bonded toured all over. It's rare to see like a bunch of brown dudes up there. Um, so it's cool. Like those guys feel like I don't even know what to say sometimes because I feel very humbled when people reach
Mhm.
out to me like that and they're like, man, you made me like you made my high school years fucking awesome, blah blah. All these things, I'm just like, wow, I don't even know what to say. But yeah, he hooked it up. He was a fan, and TFP Studios, check them out. His name's Tomas. He does a great job. Like he sent over the edited files about a week ago.
Mhm.
We're working on exclusively streaming it through a company in YouTube that on YouTube, like a metal one. So it should be out in next month. I think I'll have a date soon, but
Okay.
we're working all that out. It came out fucking awesome. Like I've seen it a few times. I've showed my family. They're all like, "What the hell? This is crazy." There's a twist at the end, and I'm gonna spoil it for you. We all end up exploding, which is fucking.
Ah. Thanks. So does that mean you're gonna come back as like zombies for the next video? I'm just kidding.
You never know. Now you're the ideas. I'm gonna write them down.
uh, what made you guys pick the song Ignoxia for the music video?
So it's basically the first song I wrote
Mhm.
um for this band. It was basically tells you about the name, about the company, about everything. If you don't know like what I'm talking about, because it's all in my head anyways, it's up to interpretation, however you want to relate to it. But in
Mhm.
my head, it basically runs down what this whole band's about. Also, I'm a big fan of Eric. Eric does the outro solo on this, and he's a good friend of mine, and I just felt like the whole song kind of gave you a taste of what Ignoxia is about. It's heavy,
Mhm.
it's fast, it's slow, it has like badass fucking shredding, and it gives you more of it emphasizes the vocals a lot, which is a different change from Macro and Bonded. So I felt like it was just like it wraps it all up in one little ball and gives it to you, and then it like you get an explosion of Ignoxia, and that's why I chose it. It was fucking awesome.
Fuck yeah, that's amazing. Well, let's get some more tunes. We're gonna play Starvation from Crypta here on Razor Radio. And then hmm. Oh right, we're coming back from Destiny from Decapitated. With you having guest musicians on this EP, what was the process picking these guest musicians?
Well, at first, I didn't know I was gonna have so many of the guys from like that new wave of thrash. It
Mhm.
started off with Balmore, but Balmore's been um, around like the spectrum of like being in a band with me
Mhm.
for a while now. So we've tossed ideas out there on doing different things, and finally, when Agnoxia came about, he was the first person I said, well, he's been waiting for a while to be part of this or anything I've done before, and as soon as I mentioned like what I wanted to do, he was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to do it." And his
Mhm.
song is actually one of my favorite. I haven't released it yet. I mean, the EP's released, but I haven't done like a little video thing is coming for him. It's one of my favorite songs on the album, on the EP. Sorry, um, Brainchild. It's
Yeah.
just fucking amazing. It's like that little like solo intro thing in the beginning. It sounds so creepy. And this guy, like, what I like about Balmore is that he really takes like if he's gonna go on a song, he takes it completely serious. He gave me like fucking 8 files of his like guitar work. I was just like, holy shit, like I have to choose all these things. Um, but he took it serious and I like that. You know what I mean? He's a great guy to work with. So as I was working with him, I got the idea of like, you know what, it would be cool to get like the gang from 2008 back together. And as I stated before, like I've talked to these guys before about making a band separate to Ignoxia in years past and in different occasions. So when I did talk to every separate guy, because I told the core group first, like, hey, like, what do you guys think of this idea? What if I get like a guest guitarist for each song, and then maybe I'll get Alex and Juan in one song. Like that'd be fucking awesome. And they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. Whatever you want to do. So all right, I went on and I started recruiting, and I call it recruiting, but honestly, it wasn't even that hard because all I did was like message them on MySpace or Instagram or whatever, and they literally their reply was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Yeah, it was like sweet, let's fucking do this shit, and then that was it. And I basically made it as easy as possible for them. I'm gonna have the track ready for you. I'll give you a timestamp of when I want your solo to come in. I'm gonna listen to these songs over and over to make sure that this song says Alex or this song says Eric. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna give you a random song just because. I wanted to make sure that this basically is your song, and I want you to like adapt to it and do your thing. They're like, yeah, let's do it. Whenever you have it, let me know. Okay, cool. Luckily, we were in fucking 2021 or 2020 when the end of 2020 when we recorded this. And we all have like our own little ways of recording each other, and we don't have to go to a studio. So everything was cool, fine and dandy. I got everybody. The hardest person to get was actually Juan, just because he hadn't recorded or picked up a guitar in like ages. After well, I don't think Bond is active. If they are, I apologize. I don't know. I don't really keep up too much with what they're doing if they're doing anything. But he hadn't picked up a guitar in a while, and he did want to be a part of it though, and I thought that was cool because I'm like, hey, it's kind of like a mini reunion, like a real bonded reunion, and he did. He picked it up, and he's like, give me a few days, and I'll slam something out. I'm like, cool, and he did. I gave him a fucking like I think I gave him a week, and he's like, dude, I'm ready. Let's fucking do it, and he did it, which is fucking awesome. And now I see him post like videos on Instagram all the time, just jamming, which is really cool to see because he wasn't doing that for a while. But yeah, if yeah, that's how it happened basically. I just collected all those guys. They said yes right away. I got humbled because I'm like, fuck, I thought I was gonna have to convince them, or they're like, hey, I'm busy with Exmortis or Vector or whoever, whatever band they're in, and Novarain and all those guys are like, and I understand that's their main priority. So I was already getting ready, like mentally ready to be like get rejected. You know what I mean? Like say I thought they were gonna say no, like, hey, I'm busy, or like the time doesn't align, whatever it may be. But they all said yes. Like there was no hesitation, there was no convincing, and it was just basically one by one. I messaged them all at the same time, and then they all started replying. I sent them over the stuff, and it was pretty easy. Literally a piece of cake. I trust them. Obviously, they've been around forever. They're talented musicians. They know how to play an instrument. So that wasn't even like I wasn't even in the back of my. I wasn't even stressing. I'm like, I'm gonna send them the files. Whatever they want to do, they have freedom. I gave them hey, here's a minute of just you shredding. Just make sure it sounds like it would be in the song. Like, all right, cool. And a lot of them were like, man, like nobody's ever given me this much freedom to just do like a song. This is fucking awesome. I'm like, dude, just knock it out of the park. I don't really care. I trust you. You guys have been playing guitar for like a billion years. I'm sure this is, and they sent the stuff back, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is great. And we moved forward.
That's fucking cool. With you having those 4 songs, did you like, oh, this one is gonna be for Conan? I could just hear him playing this solo. Oh, this one's exactly Eric. Like with the songs.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. We got the rhythm tracks back from Juan and with the drums on it, and I sat there for a while. I think I want to say like a whole week just listening to the songs over and over and over, and I wanted to make sure that each song was made for that person. Like that song fits Conan. This song fits Eric, and yeah, that's exactly what I did. Just how you explained it, like that's exactly what I did. I made sure that each song was gonna be made basically for that person. And as we were making the songs, because I already had the guys so in mind, and I had already messaged them. So I messaged them before we even had the songs, and then once we were creating the songs, there was like things that I wanted in there that I knew was like, hey, this is gonna be a song for Baltimore. Like, can you make it sound a little bit like this? Boom, 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 whatever. For and each person had their own little thing I wanted to make sure was in there, and it worked out because I feel like every song that each guest was in sounds fucking awesome when they're in it, and it sounds like it belongs. It's not like just some random solo. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the other, it could have gone like badly where it just like the song sounds cool and cohesive, but then it's like, why is this random solo here? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I've heard that even in bands that like have been together for a while, that it was just like it just doesn't sound like a whole song. It sounds like someone just created a solo on top of riffs, but it doesn't sound like a cohesive piece. And then for this, I wanted to make sure it was cohesive, and it does. It sounds great. It doesn't sound chopped up like we were all in like 10 different places recording this, which is what I love as well, because we were all in 10 different places recording this, but it doesn't sound that way.
That makes sense. Oh, what made you guys go with the bassist from Lynch King out of all the bass players you know?
He's a good friend of mine, and he was available, and we've been talking about stuff, like doing stuff for a long time. And I really like his tone and the way of playing. Like his tone is fucking amazing. And I knew that that's what I wanted in Ignoxia. Like as soon as I hit him up for it, like, and I'm a very polite guy. Like I never think like, hey, I'm Jose from Bonded. You should be in my thing. You know what I mean? I've never been that way. When I approached each and every one of these people, I basically like, I asked politely, like, hey, I know you're busy, like, but would you want to be part of this project that I'm in? This is my idea, blah blah blah. I gave him the whole spiel, and then they all agree. I mean, he was ecstatic. He's like, fuck yeah, dude, that'd be dope. Like, like one thing that he did have, like he's like, whatever it is, just make sure that my tone is like this. And I'm like, dude, that's why I'm like recruiting you, because I love your tone. And he was so happy. He was happy to be on all 4 songs.
Oh, he fucking
He's
ripped, dude.
Yeah, he's told me before too. He's like, dude, just make me part of the band. And I just want to be open to have like different bases for when the album
Yeah.
comes. He's most likely going to do, because a lot of people are coming back from the EP to do the
Mhm.
album, and he is as well. And he's most likely going to be on most of the songs, but I do have a few other guest bassists on 2 different songs.
Fuck yeah. Well, let's get some more tunes. We're gonna play some Ignoxia. Actually, we're gonna play "Brainchild" from Ignoxia here on Razor Radio, and then we're coming back from the song "Ignoxia" from Ignoxia. That's probably my favorite track. Plus, I'm a big Vector fan, so that was pretty cool. You having them.
Yeah.
Um, with you guys having these guest musicians, what are your guys' plans when playing shows live?
So we've talked about that a few times, and a few of the guys have approached me. A few of the guest guys. Obviously, I can't take like 20 guys with me to play live shows. I mean, it would be so weird. It'd be like a big old mariachi band. It's just weird. And so I've had guys like Balmore or even Conan express that they'd love to like learn the solos, and just we'd have one lead guitarist. You know what I mean? And they'll
Yeah.
play the whole thing. So one or two maybe, depending on who's on the area. Like if we play LA and like Conan's there, he'll go up there and do his own stuff. But yeah, for live stuff, we'll most likely have one of the guest guitarists do the whole thing with us, and they're all talented that they could all play those leads, so that's really good.
That's pretty cool. With writing the music for Agnoxia, was the process a lot different compared to writing for Bonded or Macrocosm?
Yeah, just because this is the first time that I've had full and complete control of how things are gonna go. Like I've always been very democratic with my way of writing. Like everybody gets
Mhm.
a vote, and like whoever wants to, like if someone doesn't like something, we switch it or whatever it may be. On this one, I was a little bit more like, it wasn't like my way or the highway, but it was more like I felt like we all trusted each other. Like we've all have the talent to get us where we already are, that there's no like tug and pull, there's no like what, there's never any like pushback. It's all like Jose takes care of the vocals and the way things are going. We trust Steven with the drums, like whatever he wants to fucking make this shit, it's gonna fucking sound awesome. We trust Juan with the rhythms, and we definitely trust all the lead guys. So things were just smooth. It was literally like, oh shit, like, hey, it was basically like, hey, at first I was so used to doing it the other way, where it was like, hey guys, what do you guys think of this? Like, should we change things up? And this time around, I was like, I kind of went like that at first. I was like, hey, what do you guys? They're like, dude, sounds fucking badass. Like whatever you say, let's just fucking do it. And I was like, what? Like I was so weird to me too, because I'm like, everybody thinks I'm the other way around. Everybody thinks it's my way or the highway in every band I've ever been in. But I'm very, very um, like not empathetic, but like I want to make sure that everybody gets a say and like
Mhm.
loves being in the band and loves
Yeah.
having a little part of it and be like, hey, I created that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy
Mhm.
where it's like, I'm the guy and fuck you guys. And I've been in bands like that before where they've before bonded when I was in like smaller bands that never achieved anything because everybody had like a big old ego. And I tend not to do stuff like that or try to portray myself in that manner. So it was kind of hard for me to just take this by the reins and like
Mhm.
and just steam through the whole thing with me just being in charge. But I'm pretty good at doing that stuff. So it was they trusted me and I trusted them and it came out amazing. As you can hear the EP, I was like, wow,
Oh
this is
yeah.
I'm actually very proud of it. It was just so fucking like so easy to do. I was having a lot of fun because I was with all these guys I've toured with before and
Mhm.
and with the new guys in Macrocosm that I fucking both of those guys that are from Macrocosm, Steven and Juan, I get along with very well. So it was just a piece of cake and fuck man, I love writing like this because I'm having tons of fun and there's no like I said, there's no pushback, there's no nothing. It's just everybody trusting each other. So the
Yeah.
music comes out fun and amazing.
That's fucking great. It's a fucking great EP. You guys went over and beyond. I mean, I already expected it was gonna be good because you're in the band and everything you've put out is pretty fucking great. So it's pretty cool to see that you guys actually accomplished it and put out some bitchin' music. I like that you actually had in the beginning of one song the bass. I was like, wow, that doesn't happen like often at all anymore.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan. That's another thing. I'm a big fan of the bass and bass
Yeah,
tone. I feel like it's underused in a lot of metal.
I
Um,
agree.
and I mean, I'm follow your page as well. I love your bass playing. It's fucking
Thank
awesome.
you.
Bonnie does too. She's always telling me, "Oh, she should be in, like a bigger band." So yeah, I'm a big. I grew up playing bass with my dad, and I feel like bass
Mhm.
is like a big old thing that people don't pay attention in metal. It's just like what the fuck, like there's some great basses out there, and so I wanted to make sure you can hear that in this because I hear a lot of mixes with a lot of metal bands that I'm really into, and even punk and all this stuff, and you don't hear it. Like sometimes it's just drowned
I
out in
agree.
the mix, and I feel like it gives it more, uh, you know, characteristic and more character when you do have a punchier bass, and especially when you know how to play it correctly. Holy
Oh
shit,
yeah.
man! To me, it's fucking awesome. So yeah, and I've always wanted a bass intro. Man, bass intros are dope. If they're done correctly, they give you like that, like damn. And the one that he does on Ser Humano is just, oh man, like it reels you in. It's just
Oh
like,
yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, this sounds so dope. And like, you want to hear the rest of the song because of that bass
Oh
intro.
yeah.
So
It
expect more bass.
definitely It's definitely like a piece sells. We're all gonna be like, damn, dude, like it's gonna be like feel like memorable on that level because it just brings so much to the table, dude. Because you don't see that. You're right. They drown the fucking bass in songs, and it's like, dude, no, like turn it up a little bit, dude. We want
Yeah,
to hear
yeah, yeah,
bass.
exactly. And so, I wanted to make sure you heard it. It was in the mix, like it was fucking powerful. And I'm glad Will from he's our mix and master dude. Oh man, he's done the Microcosm stuff, and I think he's done Novarain and a few other things. He's mostly done power metal stuff. So when he
Yeah.
does my stuff, he's like he has tons of fun because he's like, oh shit, I don't really do this any like he usually does power metal things. So he has a lot of fun, and we shoot the shit a lot because he'll call me and be like, hey, what does this sound like? Does it sound cool? So it's something he breaks out of his norm and has fun. And like I told you, and I stated before in this interview, is that I like to get people out of their comfort zone. Like
Fuck yeah.
even with the like for him with Will doing mostly power metal, now he's doing this, and then with the guy that did our logo is the same guy that did the Macrocosm logo, but he usually does uh, Viking metal and like
Mhm.
pagan stuff like that. Like he's never done any like death metal, black metal, thrash stuff. So I like so he'll have a fresh taste on it. It won't be like if I go to the guy that does all the death metal logos, it's gonna look like every other guy, every
Mhm.
other band. So that's why I like choosing those guys. Like, man, and I'm glad they're willing to work with me because a lot of people are like him. He's like, I've never done. I don't. that's not my thing, so I'm not gonna do it. Like, and he's turned down few other like death metal bands or thrash metal bands because he doesn't want to do it. But then he's like, "Oh, I'm a fan of what you've done before, and this is gonna be cool, so I'll do it for you." And that's always another humbling experience, and at the same time, it's really cool because then I get a unique piece of art.
I agree. With this EP being out for a month now, how has your audience responded to it?
So overwhelming. I knew it was gonna sell just because a lot of stuff I've ever put out, and I'm glad that people support me in that way, usually sells
Mhm.
out really quick. And for this one, I jumped the gun a little bit and like printed a lot more than I thought I was gonna sell.
Yeah.
And even like while I was like before I launched pre-sale, I'm like, man, I have a lot of inventory here. It's not gonna sell. Like the pandemic's here. I didn't think we were gonna last this long. I thought we were gonna have some shows, et cetera, et cetera. And then the night before the fucking the EP goes live, everything sells out, and I'm just like,
Oh,
holy fuck, are you serious? Like crazy. Like I literally
that's
go to
amazing.
I go to sleep and I still have like I don't know like X amount of shirts left, and I'm like, man, it's not gonna we're not gonna sell out like the macrocosm stuff did, but we printed out a lot more than the macrocosm stuff. And then all of a sudden, like I wake up and like my Bandcamp and PayPal things going off, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, holy crap! Like, are you serious? Like, this is all gone. I was just overwhelmed and at the same time humbled. Like, I'm like, fuck, I'm sending out like over 200. I think we hit like 345 things that we sent out.
Wow.
And for being like a independent band with no record label, no nothing, you know, what I mean, just whatever we could print out on ourselves. That's fucking amazing. You don't
I
see that
agree.
that's like so amazing, and I chose to do that as well. Like I chose to go. We had some label offers that I turned down, um,
Mhm.
just because it's not my first rodeo, and I didn't really want to give away my art for like and just keep a small percentage of it. I also feel like we're in 2021, and a lot of things that we need to learn as musicians is that we can do a lot of the stuff that they tell us ourselves. We just got to put in the
I
work,
agree.
and I feel like a lot of people don't want to put in the work, and it's just they feel like, oh, I'm signed to X label. It doesn't really matter what label it is,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna do all the work for you. But it's even more work because now they own you and your music and whatever, and now you have to put in extra work. And if you don't, they're gonna drop you, and you don't get the benefits of it. So that sucks. Um, so I wanted to test the waters with it, and I knew that there was gonna be all these guest musicians and blah blah blah, and I didn't have enough leverage for us to go on a label that like at least the level of label that I was planning to go on,
Mhm.
uh, which is a little bit bigger, but they basically told me the same thing that I already was thinking in my head. They're like, "Oh, well, it's a brand new band, even though there's people that are in there that we know and have been in bands and are touring and are currently active in touring bands. We don't know how well it's going to do, so we're going to give you this." And what they gave me wasn't anything even close to what I was thinking. We were just in whole different like sides of the table with what I wanted to do. Like I've told you before, it's not even about the money. It's just about
Yeah.
keeping the rights to my art and being able to control um, how and where and what I do with the band and its name. You know, at the end of the day, it's still a brand, and I want to make sure that my brand of music is not just like stashed away somewhere. Because if they're not doing something with it, I have no control. Like if for whatever reason they try something, like hey, let's try this. Um, I don't know, some sort of like marketing thing and it doesn't work out. And they're like, well, it doesn't work out. You guys, we're just going to stash this away for a while. And I can't do anything about it for 10 years or something. Then it's like, fuck, if I thought like, hey, I could have done way better marketing or at least got us some sales or something to
Mhm.
make sure that we continue as a band. Um, and so I decided not to. And I thought at first I was like, man, maybe I made the wrong choice. And then as soon as people started supporting it and doing all these things, I knew I made the right choice. I knew that people wanted it, and we sent it all over, man. We sent it to South America, Europe, Asia, all kinds of places. Um, California, of course, we got a lot of support here, and then California and Florida and New York seem to always buy a lot of stuff, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. The fans have been really liking it. I took a few weeks off from social media just to like recharge, but
Makes sense.
I've been working on some stuff in the background. Like I've been doing some big. Well, I'm not gonna tell you yet. You'll find out in the next month or so. But it's really cool things.
Fuck yeah. Well, I'm excited to find out what it is. What's the future plans though for Ignoxia?
So we're going into this. Well, we already have drums and rhythms recorded for the album. We have the full album. We have a lot of guests coming in, and I'm still working on some other guests. Some people that hit me up that I never thought we would even want to be part of this thing. They were like, "Hey man, how come you never hit me up for the Ignoxia thing?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "What the hell?" So there's gonna be a lot of cool surprises on there. A lot of other people I missed from that thrash revival era, and other cool people that are not from the thrash revival era, but are in other cool bands that are currently, touring right now and doing their thing. So they hit me up too, and they want to be part of it. Some of them are like from the death metal scene. Some of them are from some other scenes, grind and all kinds of stuff. Some people that I looked up to for a long time. So it's gonna be a cool little album, and there's gonna be a lot more surprises. So we're working on that. We're working on eventually doing some live shows. Most likely either by the end of the year or early 2022. Just to get everything set up. We're in no rush. We're in no hurry. I want to do what's best for the band, and especially since this band is full of like guests and stuff like that. There has to be a lot of things in the background that need to work in order for us to go and do, let's say, a festival or something like that. But we are working on stuff like that. I'm also finally Macrocosm is going to be releasing their full length album. We got the mixes back from Damien from Horrendous. He's doing the Macrocosm mixes, and it's sounding pretty cool. It's sounding raw. It's a little bit different than the EP sound wise, but I feel like it's heavier, it's raw, it's more atmospheric. It sounds fucking dope. It sounds more like I don't know, like an experience. It's really cool.
Fuck yeah, that sounds great. I'm excited to see what Macrocosm and Agnoxia does, since those are both your bands. I think some big shit's gonna come out of both of those camps.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm excited about that too. Also, this reignited a little bit of things between me, Juan, and Alex. So look out for something like that maybe in the near future. Hint,
cool.
Hint.
That'd be fucking cool. So where can everyone keep up with what both of your bands are up to?
So for Macrocosm, we're gonna do. You can check out Instagram. That's at Macrocosm Metal. On Instagram and Facebook. If you're still on Facebook because you're an old boomer, then you go to Facebook at official at Macrocosm official, and then Facebook is dead, man. Anyways, and then for Ignoxia, everything's the same. We keep it consistent, so it's at Ignoxia everything and any social media you're on, except TikTok. We'll be on TikTok soon, I'm sure. So at Ignoxia on Instagram, at Ignoxia Facebook, at Ignoxia, Pornhub, wherever you want to see us, we'll get.
And then where could everyone get this amazing release?
So you can go to Bandcamp. We're actually all sold out, but if you want to get the digital copy, then you can. Oh no, I think we have like 3 vinyls left. They're still there. But those, I'm surprised that because we printed out, I think for Macrocosm we printed out 30. And then for this one, we printed out 100, and I'm the type of guy that likes to do like limited edition, and I won't print them out again. So if you want to have those last 3, go pick them up. If not, then you suck.
Right?
Not you.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for being on the show.
I have no problem. Thank you for having me. This is cool. I like chit chatting with you. So, hopefully you have me back for the Macrocosm release.
Oh, fuck yeah. We'll have you for that one. And then when you guys drop the new Ignoxia, when that eventually happens, well, we're going to end the show with Fuel Injected Suicide Machine from Fear Factory. See you guys next Monday here on Razor Radio. And then I'll end the broadcast. Hold on.